and George Lucas brought the aliens back on the table, and people were still like, no. And then that's when George Lucas was like, well, they're not aliens. It's like, okay, well, what are they? It's like, well, they're extra dimensional beings.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, fine. Well, what do they look like? It's like, well, they look like aliens, but they're going to be extra dimensional. It's like, fine.
Yeah, imagining Spielberg just in bed, it's like 3 a.m. in the fucking morning, the phone rings. He's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then the wife's like, is that fucking George Lucas again? He's like, hey, Stevie, how about aliens now? You good now? You good now? Fine, whatever, fucking just whatever.
Yeah, the extra dimensional rather than terrestrial thing, it neither adds anything or takes away anything to the aliens.
I would have rather just call them aliens.
It gives them nothing narratively. They're the same thing. It's just a line that John Hurt says.
Yeah. There's the like just assumption that they were like helping the older civilizations, and that's how they were like had that advance.
Well, that's the whole ancient aliens concept. That humans couldn't have built the pyramids, so aliens.
But they could just have the aliens doing that. That line at the end when John Hurst's like, oh, where have they gone? To space? And John Hurst's like, no, to the space between space. I'm like, no, they've gone to space.
Yeah.
We don't need the space between spaces and all that.
And they're like, that wasn't this. John's gone rogue. No wonder we didn't give any fucking lines.
So yeah, that might have just been like, to tire Spielberg over that they weren't technically aliens.
But they were Spielberg.
They were aliens. They looked like aliens. They were even flying a saucer. We all know
they flew a classic 1950s War of the Worlds. They just were still flying silver saucer.
So, we open with the Paramount logo fading into a prairie dog mound. Immediately it's like a CGI prairie dog, which kind of offends me horribly. But this movie does a surprising amount of like practical effects and real sets and like real locations, but like the initial prairie dog, oh no, this could not be a prequel thing.
I think it also does a tremendous amount of offending you.
What do you guys think? Do you think this is funny? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? The prairie dog. The fading of the logo, Chai.
I'm kind of indifferent to it.
Okay, it doesn't offend me, but also
it offends me.
But compared to the opening of the last three, opening on a little prairie dog mound is kind of lackluster.
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to be like it's a joke, like a clever little hee. You thought it was big, but it's small type of thing. That's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, sure.
We cut to Hound Dog by Elvis, which is just great at setting the era. We're in the 30s, and it's just like bang, the 50s.
60s.
We were in the 30s.
Oh, okay.
Now we're in the 50s, and it's just immediately like, you play Hound Dog, and it's the 50s. Everything feels that way. That song, it brings up that era perfectly. There's all these teens in a hot rod,
and then we're immediately introduced to the Reds.
Yeah, the Russians take place with the Nazis in this movie, which makes total sense. So there's the 50s with the Cold War and all that stuff, Cuban Missile Crisis and all that jazz was going on. There were no Nazis in the 50s, so Russians. On the moon. Hitler's still alive in Argentina. I don't think so. This opening sequence is lots of fun. There's lots of movement. Hound Dog and just like the teens and their excitement. It's all very happy and upbeat.
And that one robotic teen when he laughs, he's like,
That's always noticed, but I'll cut that in.
You'll see it. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah. True. Acting.
He's almost got a close up on him too.
He does. It hangs on him for quite a moment, and he's just like, that turns.
I never noticed it, but now I'll never not notice it.
You'll notice it every time. Every time.
I'm glad that you're also ruining pieces of the movie for me.
I have to give some back.
Yeah. Then the film takes a tonal shift. Hound Dog is no longer playing. We've got Williams doing some real subtle, ominous stuff. And these Russian soldiers here just brutally murder 3 or 4 like American troops. I thought there could have been like a shot of their bodies getting all ta 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 ta. I feel like in the original trilogy they would have shown some like ta 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 ta. When he's like, when Indy pulls the gun in the third one, it's like, and you see him all get fucked up. It's like, don't call me Junior. I feel like it cut away, and it shouldn't have cut away.
I think because that's a good guy killing bad guys, there's bad guys killing good guys, maybe.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. That's true.
But maybe the 80s were just a fucked up time.
Yeah.
Let's just show anyone. We had a woman getting punched in the face. Show this.
I do love the shot though where I don't know the bad guy's name, but like the main Russian.
Yeah, I don't know his name either.
Like Kate Blanchett's like right hand man.
I did a fuckload of research today, and his name never popped up at any point for me to write.
Nameless Russian.
When he like kneels down, like ties his shoes as everyone else like starts shooting him. I do love that shot. That is cool.
Yeah. It's all framed.
Good job, Sleeper.
And then we reveal Indy, and it's not epic or like grandeur. It's like,
which was a conscious decision going into this.
Yeah, it's same with like the Prairie Dog Mound. I think like the audience is expecting a certain grandeur, and instead we get a Prairie Dog Mound and we get Indy like disheveled and like his hat's all crinkled up. I like how like dirty and like disheveled and old and everything he looks here. He doesn't look like new and shiny. He doesn't have his jacket and his shirt's all fucked up and he's covered in blood and he's got like white stubble. Like, they're not trying to make him look like nice.
Yeah, well,
like
we've also
we've
come in halfway through the events already. Like, the events of this story have already started.
Yeah,
and we've just come in like halfway
things
through.
have happened, and
and I want a prequel.
I'm sure there's a comic or something.
we get introduced to Ray Winstone's character Mac.
Yeah, what do we think of Mac?
Yeah, I was about to ask the same thing. He kind of annoys me.
Yeah.
He kind of annoys me.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's Winston's acting. I don't know if it's Winston's acting, but he feels really forced. He feels fake. Maybe that's the point.
Well, he is fake.
Because he is?
Yeah.
Two times?
Yeah, he's a triple agent or he's a double agent that's lying or he doesn't know.
I don't know.
Whatever team he's with, he's backstabbing them.
They make that joke. He's like, what do you got, triple agent? Like, nah. I just lied about being a double.
Yeah. There's a thing where you purposely make like slimy, gross, unlikable characters and the audience is meant to dislike them, and I don't know if that's why I dislike him. I don't think it is. I think I just like generally dislike him.
Yeah, I just don't think I like Ray Winston's I don't know if I like Ray Winston. Sorry, Ray.
What else has he been in?
Oh, heaps of movies. He was in The Departed. He's done a lot of like, I think he's done like those kind of cop and kind of like mafia.
Yeah.
He was Beowulf in Robert Zemeckis'
True. Really?
movie.
Well, that's all you need to say. Maybe I just don't like Ray Winston.
It's all coming together now. Go on, sorry.
Ray Winston's character Mac always reminded me a bit of you've seen the Brendan Fraser movie, like the first one.
Yeah.
The little Weasley guy is always following him.
Oh yeah.
Who's kind of like just whatever side suits him. Benny, yeah.
Yeah, he gets thrown off the boat and stuff.
Where you think at first he's on Brendan Fraser's side and he's not, and he is and he's not. He always reminded me of him. They gave me that same kind of like just Weasley slimy feel.
Yeah.
Like he's just on whatever side's the easiest, whatever's going to get the most profit.
I just don't think he's a really interesting character.
Yeah. No, he has no depth.
I think that's the thing.
Out of all the indie like sidekicks, accomplices, companions, I guess you could consider him one. He's like my least favourite.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I agree.
Look, what can I say, Jonesy? I'm a capitalist. And they pay.
One thing, which we mentioned earlier, back in 2008, if you went in not knowing who was in this, would your mind have been completely blown when you saw the opening credits and Karen Allen's name pops up as a main credit?
I think, most people don't read opening credits. I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people about opening credits and like, I don't read any of that. I think we're like the exceptional nerdy people that read opening credits. But I think 90% of people do not read opening credits. Or closing credits. When Netflix tries to skip the credits, I'm like, no! Who edited this episode? I need to know!
But I think that's the thing though, the people who are like us who are gonna read, like, oh, there's Karen Allen's name, are gonna be the ones who are gonna be pissed off that we read Karen, the general one's not gonna care. Or even know, they go, who's Karen Allen?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. There's a bunch of... The Expanse is a good example. There's an episode where if you read the names and opening credits, you're like, what's going on? There's a bunch of times, where that's happened. I don't remember at the time. She was announced, I think.
She wasn't in the trailer, was she?
No, she's in the trailer.
In the teaser?
I can't remember the teaser, but I remember that there's that... No, I think it is in the teaser, the bit where she's like, Indy, and he ran with Jonesy, when they're all being...
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're
Performed by
right.
the Mayans.
I don't really remember the marketing for Crystal Skull. I don't really.
It was a long time ago.
I remember being really excited for the film, but I don't really remember the
I
marketing.
remember going to Chermside and watching it and looking at the standee and being like, ah, and everything. But I don't remember trailers or anything.
I remember the trailer for it, probably because I binge watched it like every night leading up to the release. But also because I worked at Blockbuster at the time when the movie came out onto DVD.
Yeah.
So then I saw the trailer on the in Blockbuster back in those great days.
Yeah.
Like looping over and over and over again. So I saw the trailer like a lot of times.
That's fair. Now you're watching the Indy 5 trailer over and over again.
Because I'm working at the cinemas and it's I'm at the gold class bar and it's literally just there in front of me 5 times every hour.
Like every 2 minutes I hear, give him hell, Indiana Jones.
Oh, you picked the right jobs, Robbie.
Yeah.
You worked in a good way to
and always for the Indiana Jones sequel.
Yeah. It all works out in the end.
So after Dial of Destiny, you'll leave this job and you're going to get another job.
Nah.
Well, there's going to be no more Indies.
So they say.
Yeah, so Indy emerges from the boot. It's very non-glamorous. He's all dishevelled. We got the iconic silhouette of him on the car. John Williams score swells.
It slowly builds, and then you get the big hit as he turns around.
Yeah, it's amazing how many times he'll take the Imperial March or the Indy theme or whatever, and he'll just slightly not twist the notes. The notes are obviously the same, but play it in a different way. Play it subtly or big or small or exciting.
Every theme he's ever written, he's got 20 variations of it.
When Darth Vader's helmet comes off, they play the dun 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 dun, dun. But it's just on piano. Yeah. It's just on a few high keys. Yeah. And it's all nice and quiet and subtle and sad.
It's a touching moment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Darth Vader is dead. What do we think of Kate Blanchett? What's her name? Irina
Spalko.
Yeah.
Look, if you're going to compare it to Belloc or Donovan, no, she doesn't compare for me. But I think she's a good villain. I like her.
I love Kate Blanchett.
I love Kate. I was really, really excited to see her play a villain going into this, and for me, she didn't disappoint.
Yeah.
I thought the character wasn't amazing, but she was what you expect from an indie villain. And I thought that her accent does go in and out a couple of times, but I didn't find it wasn't what's his name, John Lithgow, Pitch Perfect 3 level of bad.
I've just seen Pitch Perfect 3.
Don't.
I haven't seen Pitch Perfect 1.
He does the most horrendous Australian accent. It's awful.
Oh, Australian. That'd be bad for us.
It's bad.
Good ear for that.
Which great Australian actor can we get to play? Oh, John Lithgow.
Yeah, I think I like her and I like her character. Yeah. And if you look at Tote from Raiders, he's not subtle and he's ridiculous and he's over the top and he's playing it with ham and cheese and it's 140%. And I guess you could kind of put her bad accent in that box and say it's not a realistic drama or anything. But yeah,
I think Spalko is a weak villain.
Yeah,
I think she's just a bit of a weak villain. I have nothing against her character.
Yeah,
and I think she pushes the story along. But I don't know. There's just like you were saying before, Belloc and everyone else, and even Mola Ram. They all, how two-dimensional is that guy?
Yeah,
but he still feels he has a presence about him.
He has a massive presence.
Kate Blanchett kind of doesn't bring that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree. I don't think she's amazing. I just thought she serviced the film well enough.
Yeah. Her accent is. It sounds like an actress doing a Russian accent. It doesn't sound like a Russian accent.
Yeah.
So, we will do this. What is the expression? Old-fashioned way. You will tell us.
And we enter into Area 51, the warehouse.
Hangar 51.
Hangar 51 at the end of Raiders. That was Area 51. Who knew? They've taken indie lore and twisted in a completely new direction. Does it offend you? Are you angry? No,
I'm not offended. I'm not offended. They can do whatever they want. It's their world, whatever. I'm not something.
Oh, they enter into the warehouse. I just have to say, overall, I'm kind of summing stuff up here, but that's fine. I don't think this movie recaptures the magic in a bottle that the first three did, but I think Harrison does. Watching him here, he is like Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah.
He's 65 here. There's a moment where there's all these boxes and he's doing like the pellets from the shotgun thing. And it just, I remember even as a kid when I watched it, I was amazed at how quickly this fucking old man just sprints up these boxes. Like all my friends who were like 30, they could not do what this 65-year-old man does.
I'd have difficulty getting up those boxes. I'm only 32.
It's impressive. You see him in the special features and like he's swinging on wires, doing like the whip stuff going from car to car, and he's physical and he's fighting and he has input into like the character and the lines and the intuition and everything. And even though, yeah, this movie doesn't quite hit the magic that the original trilogy does, like Harrison in this movie at 65, he's there for me, and he's Indy.
Harrison's not the problem with this film at all.
No.
Not one of the problems of this film at all. He slips back into Indiana Jones easily.
Yeah.
Easily. And he actually looks like he's having fun doing it.
Yeah.
I think he said Indiana Jones is his favourite character that he's played.
Sure,
right?
Yeah. It's amazing because he's so cranky and like bitter, and people ask him about Star Wars and he's like, ugh. They ask him about fucking Han Solo and he's like, I did it for a paycheck. But like he genuinely, like he was the first one out of like Spielberg and Lucas and Ford to get the ball rolling with this new movie and everything. He was the one like calling up Spielberg going, we should make another one. And it's just shocking and heartwarming because he is so cranky and old and bitter. And he cares about this one role.
His personality as himself in interviews, he just kind of sits there looking like he's about to fall asleep. And he's in Indiana Jones, he's happy, he's acting. It's a different guy.
It's crazy. And I guess, like, as an actor, like, given this role, like, Han Solo was like a secondary character to Luke. Like, Indiana Jones is the main character, and it's physical and it's fun. They go to different locations, and he gets to act and he gets to swing on stuff. So I guess from his perspective, it makes sense that this will be his role. Mm-hmm. And it's like one of the most iconic characters in cinematic history. So yeah, why not?
Good, he's not phoning it in. That would be disappointing. We have not seen Dial of Destiny.
I was just gonna say, we're just speculating here, but he was fine at 65. What about 80? Do you think? We don't know, right?
Look, if he's the one who got the ball rolling for Dial of Destiny, then surely he's not just going to get upset and be like, fuck, what am I doing?
We'll see. It's 15 years on. He's not like 50. He looks 50 in this movie, but he's not. He's 65.
Yeah.
So he'll probably, I don't know. I really don't know.
This is what we've spoken about before too. So this movie is filled with, you know, hey Gramps, Grandpa, like I'm too old for this shit kind of humour.
Yeah.
Now, the new one, I mean, it might, judging by the trailers here, it doesn't look like it involves any of that humour. But here he looks quite young compared to what he looks like in present
He did
day.
it in 2008.
He did look old in 2008 because we're comparing it to the original three. Yeah. Now, we see him now and he's like, you know, oh, he's a frail old man.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And are they going to still be going, okay, Grandpa, okay, sit down, Indy.
Well, there's a line that Shia speaks where he's like, what are you, like 80?
I was about to say that, and now he literally is 80.
He's 80?
And he should have responded, no, but in the fifth film.
I will be.
40, like 80?
So yeah, I guess we'll see. But, yeah, I don't know. It could go either way. Who knows? I know that James Mangold in an interview said, and you know, people say stuff in interviews all the time, and I take it to heart, and then I go in and say, well, they lied to me.
You go back and demand a refund?
Time and time again. He said, yeah, that Indy's age would play a part in the narrative and like be part of like the themes and the tone.
Is it just because he's retiring?
I don't know. He just said like his age is part of like the tone and the themes, and it's not like a joke, but. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can still see him like swinging around in whips and stuff. That's another thing. Like the action kicks in, right, and it's all very Indiana Jones. It feels Indiana Jones, and I guess you don't need really much else other than like Harrison Ford in the hat with Spielberg directing and John Williams score. Like you put those three things together, like it's kind of going to feel like Indy. But for me, I think he just feels a little too overpowered. We spoke in the first review how Lucas crafted Indy to always be like 10% out of his depth. And like when he takes the truck in the first one, like he's just barely scraping through. Like he's getting shot, he's getting beat up. Like the plane fight, the big guy kicks the shit out of him and like he bites him and he kicks him and he throws sand in his eyes. He does a nut shot. Like he's struggling through every situation and barely scraping it through, and that's endearing. And here, he's kind of like taking them out with ease, and he's like 20 years older. Like he swings back on the whip and he just kind of smashes into the front of the truck.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I thought that was closer. Then he just like elbows him out and he has the truck. And it was like, that was like a 10-minute, oh no, what's the truck scene? Like 20-minute scene in like the first one.
Yeah.
Him taking a truck, and now he's just like...
Damn, I thought that was closer.
Yeah, I just thought about that. Like an old man flies backwards, back first into it, smashes the windows, the frame of the truck comes in. The guy's just sitting there, oh, that's cool. What's this guy going to say? Sappy one-liner. Ow, I've been hit. He's got my truck.
The 56-year-old man. I wrote it down in my hand. We're just watching it then. The John McClane effect. If it's not a term, I'm coining it because we talked about the Die Hard movies too, and as they went on. Like by the end, John McClane was jumping out of skyscrapers and like taking on jets, and his power level rose unrealistically. And it's not that bad here.
It's the same thing that's happening in Fast and Furious. The first one was a drag racing movie, a street racing movie. And now they've got superhuman strength. They're able to do all these things and survive all these massive crashes.
And flying to space.
Fly to space. Like what else can they? Oh, God, yep. But let's not talk about those movies.
They're implementing the John McClane effect, coined here. Oh, they fight for a bit. He beats up the main Russian guy and escapes, and we get this like nuclear testing site. And I really like Indy just here, and it's so weird and odd and like ominous. You know the implications, you know what's happening, and it's all surreal and heightened and fake, and it's a nice action piece.
It's Twilight Zone. That's what it feels like to me. It has that feel to it. It's cool.
It's off and it's weird because it's all like false.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be false. And then like you click as like what is happening. Like, oh, that's really fucking cool. Then he gets in the fridge and
the famous scene.
Yeah.
Or infamous scene, I should say.
Yeah. Before we get to that, I guess too, I remember when I first watched this and it did felt really digital, and like I think everybody, like context is so important in like framing your opinion of stuff, and we were all just coming out from the prequels and like the magic of the original trilogy, then they went like hyper like digital and everything was just like blue screen.
Very glossy.
Yeah, I remember like a scene when Ewan McGregor and he's just like in a room that's blue and he's like, what's going on, George? And George's like, and he's like, I have no idea what's going on. I remember thinking that when this movie came out, but in rewatching it, watching all the special features, like the houses when the nuclear explosion go on, that's like a model, and they got like air cannons, like blew all the houses apart.
Really?
And there's lots of like huge big sets and like
even the jungle. I love the trees.
Yeah. So it looks like fake and weird, and I don't know if that was just my perception at the time, but going back on it, it does feel like they tried to recapture like it was filmed analog, and you know there are CGI things which are fine.
I think my gripe with if we're talking about the look of the film, is the lighting feels off. So like, especially this opening scene and then outdoor scenes especially, it feels really off. And like jumping ahead just slightly, not to move the story ahead, but the nighttime scene where they first get attacked and he whacks the guy with the shovel.
Yeah,
that seems very like the way that's lit feels very artificial.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I'll get into this later on, but I don't know if that's like because it's the 50s and like that. Like I don't know if
I think it's probably down the cinematographer Janusz Kaminski, who has been Spielberg's cinematographer in Schindler's List, and he's got a very distinct look, and a lot of the like very washed out look at times.
Yeah, but this feels very different. That's not. I mean, this is the only one of his films that looks to me like artificially lit.
Right. Yeah.
Presumably he would be trying to recapture like the lighting of the original three. The lighting guy, his name was like Douglas something.
Yeah.
Let's just call him Dougie. Presumably the new lighting guy is trying to recapture Dougie's lighting, and
I think since he was just doing his own lighting and trying to replicate someone else's, I think the two styles in cinematography and lighting just clashed.
Yeah, fascinating. So he jumps in the fridge, and I think the conclusion I've come to after thinking about this a lot and writing my notes and researching and stuff is,
here we go.
I think it'd be fine and it would work in like the laws and the rules that they previously set up if you cut out the shot of the fridge bouncing and banging along the ground. I think if you just had the explosion and everything going off, and then you just cut to like rubble with the fridge opening, I think that would be acceptable.
I agree that he'd be dead. I think, like, unless he's really pushed himself against the side of the fridge to brace it up. But do you think that's any wackier than him coming out of in the life raft in Temple with the life raft and like coming out
and falling off a cliff afterwards that as well?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is. Yeah, maybe like 7%.
Well, I mean, it is an atomic bomb.
It's an atomic bomb.
I mean, granted, yes, the danger is very heightened.
Yeah.
There's radiation involved, and yes, he is 60, whatever old he is. Look, yes, I don't have too much of an issue with the nuking the fridge scene. I do agree that it's a bit out there.
Yeah.
But fuck it, it's Indiana Jones. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's completely implausible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I don't know, have fun with it.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
That being said, I sound like a hypocrite because I have issues in the Fast and Furious universe with this kind of shit. Like, you know, how did he lift that car? How did Vin lift that car? Like, how did he survive getting
I think the difference is, though, Fast and Furious, apart from every other actor in that, Vin Diesel, when he's doing it, the tone shifts to being serious for some reason.
Yeah.
Whereas Indiana Jones never loses that fun tone.
Yeah, it's not trying to be, Schindler's List.
Indiana Jones.
Fun, 1930s action adventure.
Indiana Jones is always kind of like winking at the audience saying, we know this is ridiculous, come along for the ride. Whereas Fast and Furious, it's like Vin Diesel, I don't know what the hell he's thinking. He treats it like it's the Godfather.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's cars in space and bombs plowing through Rome. I'm like, no, like, you know, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But Rob, the family.
Forget family.
Don't say it in front of Vin.
Yeah, I think it'll work if you just cut out the shot of the fridge going boom, bang, boom, spaghetti, bang, bang, bang. I think if you cut that out and just have him emerging from it, I think it'll work. Yeah.
I do love that shot when he's climbing the hill and like the mushroom cloud.
It's beautiful.
And you get that nice iconic Indiana Jones silhouette.
Yeah, and it's made iconic just by like Indy being there. And it is kind of iconic now. I guess it's like 15 years old.
His silhouette makes the shot iconic.
You just put him in anything.
It could be a picture of dog shit, and then Indy just silhouette is like, hey, that's artistic.
Iconic.
Look at that one. There's a fly on it too.
Oh, so he's taken by the Americans. He's getting scrubbed down because of the old radiation. A guy like scrubs down.
I was going to say, we get the classic, lifting the broom joke.
Even that, like, it just feels Indy, just like his crankiness and the way he like looks at him and like he's like, it's Indy.
The funny thing is, like, even though we've seen that joke, every single time we see like a radiation like scrub down, it's still funny because it's Harrison Ford doing it.
Yeah, it's the way he executes the joke that makes it perfect. Then there's like some exposition sequence where like they start going into what's her name? Arena Spellcode?
Yeah.
Is it Arena? Yeah,
Arena.
I guess it is. That doesn't. Yeah. Right.
Tina Arena Spellcode.
Tina Arena Spellcode. And this always completely breaks the immersion for me. The janitor from Scrubs is here, and I can't not see the janitor from Scrubs.
And Charles Widmore
From Lost.
Alan Dale is interviewing as well.
Yeah, true. But yeah, just for me personally, I watched a lot of Scrubs back in the day, and I cannot not see the janitor from Scrubs. Every single time. It's just like, he's not a CIA
Is he actually?
agent.
Is he? Are you talking about John C. McGee? What's his name? Is that who you're talking about?
When Indy's first getting interrogated, there's like 2 CIA officers.
Is that him? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch a lot of Scrubs?
No. But I know.
The
him.
janitor, yeah.
Oh no, the other guy. Yes, it is the janitor. I'm thinking of the other doctor.
The 2 like initial guys.
Yeah.
with the suit
I
and tie.
got him.
There's
I got
a big
him.
guy.
I'm there. I'm with you. I've got it. Scrubs.
We get some exposition sequence. We cut to the old college. Indy is doing.
It's nice being back to college.
Yeah. Every time they cut back to the college, especially in like Crusade after the whole darkness of Temple, it's like, we're back home. We made it through another adventure and we're resetting for the actual story to happen, I guess. Although this opening was part of the main story. Normally the opening is like kind of adjacent.
Yeah, this is actually the first Indiana Jones film where the opening ties into the overall story.
I've set up like most of the main antagonists and whatnot in this. And yeah, what's this guy's name? Professor Slughorn.
Jim Broadbent.
Yeah, he is here. What do we think of him? He's not in it much.
Professor Slughorn. Honestly, he kind of feels a bit out of place to me.
Yeah.
He takes me out of it. But I don't know if it's just because it's Jim Broadbent. I don't know. Sorry, once again, sorry Jim.
I know you're watching.
I know he's watching. He phoned me.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, I agree. Like I like Jim Broadbent, but because this was 2008 and Half-Blood Prince was 2009, so the year after. But I think I knew he'd been cast as Slughorn. I remember when I saw him, I was like, oh, it's Slughorn. But I
know him as other things. I'm Jim Broadbent. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I knew him from other things, but because I'm such a big Harry Potter fan, I'm pretty sure by the time Crystal Skull came out, it had been announced that he was going to be Slughorn in Half-Blood Prince, which was coming out the year later.
His character's fine. He doesn't really have much to do.
No. He's in a scene and he delivers like exposition.
Yeah. He's there just.
Indy's been fired, and then Indy's back at his house and he's reminiscing on memories, and he's there to like prompt Indy.
Yeah.
So Indy, how do you feel?
What do you think of the photos on the
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, nice. I don't mind to do that.
I also have Last Crusade stuff here that I forgot to talk about. Okay. And this is a great segue because we see Sean Connery's photo here. And I know we talked about Last Crusade for an hour and 20. But yeah, Sean Connery, obviously Lucas and Spielberg, they wanted him hardcore to play Henry Sr.'s role because he was James Bond and the whole thing is kind of James Bond-esque. I ended up getting him, and something I don't think I talked about, I might have, but I drank quite a bit of Jägermeister and the review gets a bit blurry and I was a bit off the rails. Did we talk about the fact that Henry Sr. and Henry Jr. share Elsa as like a sexual partner? I
don't think we brought that up either, but I always forget about that until they say the line. I'm like, oh, that's right.
Well, yeah. Part of the justification for Connery accepting the role is he wanted to have like a big input into the character and like mold it in his own ways. And Lucas had him framed as more of like a suit and tie, like straight up and down, plain toast kind of guy.
And this was Connery's input. He wanted to get the girl.
Connery's like, well, maybe I can't do the Connery.
Do it. We need it. Do we trust Sean Connery's input? Because remember, he did produce Sir Billy.
Oh, cut in the clip from Sir Billy here. Do we need to explain Sir Billy?
Don't explain it. Just show the clip. And now you've seen it. That's all you get.
The guardian of the Highlands. A grandpa. Sir Sean Connery is Sir Billy.
My name is William. Billy to my friends.
Well, Lucas, I can't do it. I just watched number 3 so many times. I went to that review. I need to practice. I wasn't expecting to be put on the spot like this. He was like, he brought more of like the like quirks and like the eccentricities. You say it again, Robbie?
Eccentricities.
Yeah, I'll just get that and dub it over mine now. To the role, and he was also like,
you're gonna be murdered.
I'm not gonna do that. That's way too much work.
I hope it happens.
Fuck. Now I feel like I have to do it. He brought more of like the like quirks and like the
eccentricities.
He brought some of the more quirkiness to the role, and then he also said, maybe I fucked the young, hot 20-year-old blonde actress as well. And I'm like, all right, whatever, Sean.
Spielberg at least going, whatever. Yeah, sure, fuck it. We'll write it in.
Mr. Spielberg, Connery's on the phone again. He says that his character needs to have sex with Sulla now. Oh, just say yes. We want him.
He wants a 20-minute sexual scene. And he wants to be wearing a Zardos costume. For the whole film.
Tell me everything.
My name is Zed. For Zardos, I am an exterminator.
Enter Shia LaBeouf. People hate on Shia. And there was a moment where he was the new kid on the block and he was doing Disturbia and Transformers and all that mainstream stuff. And then he kind of went really weird and turned his back on Hollywood and he did a bunch of John Lennon stuff. He was under the blanket and grew his beard out and there's a whole bunch of political stuff.
And it was the Do It
Yeah. He like clearly and like intentionally like got out of the Hollywood system because like it wasn't to his liking. Like went off the rails, and then I feel like everyone turned on him. But I kind of like that part of him. I like the fuck you mainstream Hollywood.
Like Peanut Butter Falcon and all that more recently. Have you watched all those?
No.
That's actually a good movie.
No.
But there you go, whatever. There, go watch it, Joel.
Yeah. Like, I don't hate Shia LaBeouf as a human being, and I feel like a lot of people do. I think
he's a good actor. I think he's a very good actor.
What do we think about Shia and Mutt here?
Well,
Shia's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with Shia as Mutt Williams.
Yeah.
Williams, right?
Yeah.
Never thought about that. That's fine. I don't think he's an issue. I think things they do with Mutt's character is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Any issue I have with the character has nothing to do with Shia himself.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Shia in Transformers, obviously, seen him in Disturbia, Eagle Eye,
I like
of movies,
Disturbia.
and I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's very talented. Saw him in Fury as well. Like, he's great.
Yeah.
His methods might be a bit odd in terms of like how he gets into character and stuff like that, but whatever, each to his own. On screen, he's great. That's what matters.
Yeah.
And I think, and Crystal Skull is great. Like Jai said, it's what they do with the character that's the problem.
I like Mutt, and I think he works, and I like his interplay with Indy, and now Indy's like the older, like 60-year-old professor who's more buttoned up, and he's like the 1950s, like out of control greaser who like doesn't want to study and wants to like. It's like the Henry Sr. and Henry Jr. thing again, but now Indy's
it's reversed.
Yeah, Indy's the old reserved man, and his son is
I also,
wild.
From the moment Mutt comes in on screen, like on the train station on the motorbike, and he calls him in, and then they go straight to the bar scene.
Yeah,
pretty much from like straight away, I thought that Harrison and Shia have got great chemistry and great back and forth.
Yeah,
and even if the script sometimes doesn't have the best flow, they make it flow at times. Like, I don't know if they've improvised some lines, but they probably have. But no, I find a lot of their dialogue, straight dialogue scenes, whether it's in the bar or when they're back at Indy's place and looking over the maps and stuff like that, or just when they're like grave robbing and they go all that back and forth. It's great. It's very natural, and they work together.
Yeah, I think they work together, and I like their banter, and it's funny. I don't think he feels like Indy's blood, though, for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just the physical appearance, but for some reason it didn't feel like Indy's son. I don't know why.
I feel that too, but then again, like, he hasn't really been around Indiana Jones.
And
he didn't know he existed.
So he's doing his own thing.
And when you think about it, he does have that strong kind of defined personality that Marion has. And he's obviously Marion's son, and he's obviously spent his whole time growing up around Marion, not Indiana Jones. So he's developed more, I think, that kind of like indifferent kind of, I don't care what other people think, kind of attitude that Marion has in the original film. Yeah.
What's your mom's name again?
Mary? Mary Williams, you remember her?
Heard a lot of Marys, kid.
Shut up. That's my mother you're talking about. All right?
Basically, you get a whole bunch of exposition. The whole MacGuffin for this is the Crystal Skull. I watched a fuck ton of Ancient Aliens back in the day. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah. I never watched it.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's something else, man. It's hilarious. These like crackpots get on screen and they start waffling on about like Mayans and then aliens, and like there's such like a massive jump in logic. They're like, look at this rock. This rock is big. Moving this rock would have been hard. Carving this rock would have been hard. You're like, yeah, that's right. I agree with you. And then like aliens, and you're like, where did we went from there to aliens? So yeah.
But that does give a great story for an Indiana Jones film.
It does, and like the first three were based on like 1930s action adventures. And what Lucas did here was like take the action adventure tone and then shift it into the 50s with like B movies,
science fiction,
like
movies,
the Planet of the Giant Apes, and like
that's my whole point about Indiana Jones 4 is because like in the 50s, all the science fiction movies with the aliens coming, well, not all of them, but a lot of them were metaphors for the war and like the the nuclear war and all that might have been happening.
Yeah. So everything was an allegory for the Russians.
So it was kind of like a metaphor for, like America being invaded. I like that Indiana Jones 4 tried. I feel like it tried like, okay, the Russians are actually invading. Oh, but they flipped that, and now it turns out it is actually invading. So I see it like kind of an ironic kind of like, gotcha.
Yeah, I like that the alien like was skipping ahead a bit here at the ending, but like the alien subplot gets a lot of hate.
It does.
I've never that's one aspect of the film. What I think has problems. That aspect of the film isn't what I think is a problem with the film. Because you can't do Nazis again, obviously. You can't, and I'm glad they don't do a rehash of what the original trilogy did. And it does set its own tone as its own thing. It is in a completely different decade, not just the next decade, but like 2 decades later.
Yeah.
And the 50s does have a very different feel, different tone, and it was very science fiction crazy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not just in Hollywood, but just in general, like, you know, there was a whole Area 51 thing, and it's very much...
Well, it was like the generation where we were trying to get to the moon.
Yeah.
Like, space was on everyone's brain.
Yeah, and when
we will go to the moon, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. And the nation was like,
And I love...
What if there's giant ants on there?
And I love when they reveal the UFO find at the end. It has a very classic 50s UFO.
Yeah, it's like an old school flying saucer.
Yeah.
I think like Lucas's knowledge of like films of his childhood generation is very good, and interjecting that 1950s sci-fi themes and tone and the whole crystal skull and the real mythology of that, I think that all works and that's all fine. People just... There are shots of aliens where I don't think they should have showed the actual aliens, and like cutting around it more clever could have worked. Yeah, but overall, the whole themes and the tone, it's fine for me.
Yeah, that whole scene at the end where they were like in a circle, and I think I would have liked them to hide the aliens a bit more.
I don't mind that shot where they all like go into the one.
Cool. That's
but
cool.
the one where it comes right up to the camera, kind of like goes, "Hey, look, I'm the dude from Signs."
Yeah,
that's a bit much. For me.
And it's horribly CGI.
It really is. It's distracting.
Be more subtle. Like, don't just straight up show the alien. But if you have to, make it practical, like old school ET, so it feels more indie.
I'm not sure. This could be a stupid question, but how far into the movie? Because obviously we all know it's aliens when we rewatch the film. I can't remember how far into it is it confirmed that it is actually aliens in the film.
I think it's like it's in the tent. I'm pretty sure when Kate's trying to interrogate, like Indy strapped to the chair.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett's like in the same tent, but like in the next kind of compartment, and she's pretty much like spilling out everything.
You see like her touching an alien there,
and that's
right.
And that's when Indy's like, you're kidding or something like that, and that's when she pulls out the actual alien head that's got like the missing skull, and she's like, why do you not believe what you see or something, Dr. Jones? Like, that's where it's actually like, that's confirmed it's an alien. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's where they start talking about aliens, They show like them cutting open like the weird sarcophagus thing, like in the opening scene,
And you see the hair, but that could be anything.
Yeah, they don't say aliens and they don't bring up Saucerman, and I
like this.
shaking. Like, oh my god. Yeah. But I like that, how they work that. I think they could have done that for the tent scene when she's playing with the alien body. Don't just straight up show it, and the final like CGI alien.
For me, because we've been talking a lot of positive things, and overall, I love the movie. It's my least favorite one. It's the weakest one, but I still love it.
Yeah.
The problems I have with the movie are the direction they take Mutt's character in, what they do with him in certain action scenes. We all know what we're talking about. And
I don't. No, we'll get to that.
And even though I do like the story, and I like the revelation about being aliens and everything like that, I find the journey to it isn't as interesting as what it could have been.
Yeah.
Like it kind of like, it feels very like, you know, the other two Indiana Jones, even though they're all the same length. Most of the other two, like Raiders in Last Crusade, where they actually go like different places, not just days. But the ones where they go different places, once you know what the adventure is, it still feel like you've got quite a bit ways to go. Whereas here it's like, this is what it is, bam, 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 done.
Yeah.
And it just feels very quick.
Yeah.
Pretty much once you get the chase done, like you pretty much get that scene at the where it's just Mutt and Indy, and that's when they first find the crystal skull.
Yeah, I love that scene. Yeah. That felt very Indy.
And that goes straight to the jungle.
Yeah.
Which goes straight to the chase, and then straight to the ending. And it just feels, I feel there could have been more exploration and more of that classic Indiana Jones kind of like back and forth between the villains and Indy and trying to discover more stuff. Because once they get the crystal skull, there's no more discovering really.
Yeah.
The only kind of discovery you get is with John Hurt's character, and I love John Hurt, but his character balls the shit out of me.
Yeah, I had a note down about John Hurt. I love John Hurt. John Hurt's amazing. Alien, first guy to get chest bursted. Harry Potter, obviously.
Ollivander, I love the guy.
Have you guys seen 1984? No.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I've read the book, I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, okay, yeah. He's the main character. He plays Winston, I think, in 1984. It's just a horribly sad movie. The Elephant Man, have you guys seen The Elephant Man by David
I haven't
Lynch?
seen that.
Yeah,
I want to.
John Hurt is a great actor.
He's good in this.
He just doesn't get anything to do.
I just don't find his characters interesting.
I think because he's just like, his mind's gone.
Yeah,
like 90% of the movie.
But we've seen characters where their mind have gone before and they're still interesting.
True, I find him boring as well in this. I don't know why I'm kind of like sticking up for him. But I think that, the writing gives him nothing to do. The writing gives him shit all to do.
He babbles stuff and Indy goes, that's what his babble means.
And he never really... John Hurt never really did anything special with that. Like, like another actor might have like played it a bit more over the top or maybe played it differently and that kind of thing. And it might have been fun to watch. John Hurt wasn't fun to watch doing that kind of thing.
And Shire's like all emotionally like moved and like saddened by like the state of his stepfather. But we didn't know this character. I have no emotional investment. I don't care.
We don't care.
Shire's crying, and I'm like, who is this guy? And then he snaps back at the end, and I'm like, the movie's over? Who was that guy?
That's what I mean.
He's gone.
So, I think some of my issues with Crystal Skull, to sum it up, is not so much the content, it's the execution of certain things, and largely the writing.
Oh, my notes. Go on, sorry, I derailed.
That has to be the opening of the video. It's like the jungle chase. I love the jungle chase.
Yeah.
But then the bloody vine swing just...
Alright, let me set up the jungle chase. So I love the first hour of the film. I think it's great. Like, I genuinely love it. The scene we haven't talked about, like leading up to the jungle chase, is the like tomb raiding sequence. That looks nice. I like how Mutt is out of his element and he's like all like this whole time he was like this gung ho alpha male. I'll stab you, Indy. And here he's taken out of his element. And Indy's in his element, and it's hilarious.
Takes Indy seriously as well.
Yeah, he sees what this guy's good at. He's like, oh, you're a teacher. Oh, you're 80. Oh,
part-time.
Whatever. Yeah. And then, he's completely out of his element, he's freaking out, and Indy's dominating. Oh, also the motorbike chase.
Oh, yeah.
The motorbike chase is
I love the motorbike
fucking
chase.
amazing.
You kind of skipped everything and we just summarised the whole film.
That's right.
You might as well leave the
We've heard from Robbie. Now try and wrap this up.
Gave your overall opinion. You're done. You're out.
Robbie had enough. Really, halfway here, Robbie.
You skip like 3 major scenes to get to the chase.
I wanted to get the negativity out of the way. I want to get the good stuff.
We're going to get to that.
I love the motorbike chase. It's all real. It's all practical. There are scenes where Shire is riding the bike and Harrison is on the back and like he's fighting people in cars and stuff. And they have this setup where it's like a motorbike and it's getting towed by a car and has like a bigger platform. So like if you fall off the motorbike, you're on the bigger platform. But still, Harrison Ford is like 65 and he's like doing all this crazy stuff and it's insane. It looks real because it is real and it captures the indie spirit for me.
Oh, definitely.
I love this chase. I think it's great. I think this is a great scene. And I even like the part how they hit the Marcus Brody statue and it smashes his
I don't mind
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
And they pay a good homage to Marcus. It's like a photo of him, Indy references him, we get the statue.
And they chop his head off.
He gets his due.
And I don't see it being disrespectful because Indy in the film
is visibly upset.
Is visibly angry at it.
Shire says something and then Indy's like...
Yeah, exactly.
If Indy was laughing, that would be disrespectful.
I always hated that guy. I didn't know how to ride a horse.
Tomb raiding scene is great. They get captured, and for me, I think the jungle chase, it just looks weird and fake. And I think if you're going to compare it to like the truck scene from the first one or the tank scene from the third one, if it was like as good as them or near to them, I think this movie would be like brilliant and like almost at the unreachable watermark of the original trilogy. But it's just not for me. I don't know, like the suspense and the tension isn't there. Doesn't really feel like anyone's in danger. Indy's jumping from like cars to other ones with like 5 Russian soldiers who are like shooting at him with AKs, and I'm not scared that anyone's gonna die. They're chasing the skull, I guess, but it just looks weird. And I know a lot of it was real. Like they were in Hawaii in cars, but it doesn't feel authentic or real like the first three. It feels digital and weird. And it's more like fun and upbeat. I think it could have been more like tense and suspenseful and have like the stakes be greater.
This part of the film for me too has a weird pace to it as well, because we go from like them escaping the Russians in the tent, then you get that like the snake, like throw the rope kind of thing. Straight into like I forget, I'm misremembering the order here, but you go like the chase, then you got like the ants, and then the waterfall. Yeah, like it's all like one set piece after the other in this same scene. Yeah, and it's kind of like a weird like run to the end of the movie.
That's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Like, once you get the crystal skull, there should be a lot more stuff to come after it. But there technically is, because the movie's only half over. But the last hour, it's like a sprint to the finish.
Yeah,
which on one hand is great, because I love having like wall to wall action. It's just like non-stop like tension. But like at the same time, it's kind of like an empty sprint to the finish. Because like yes, while it's visually a lot of really cool stuff's happening, and there's a lot of tense bits that I really love. Like I love the initial kind of like trying to break out of the truck during the chase, and then the ants bit I think is really cool.
I like the ants bit.
But the exploration bit is gone, and then when you get to the bit at the Mayans or the Incas, I can't remember. I think it's the Mayans.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I'm like, oh cool, some more exploration, but no, it's just another chase scene. Yeah, and then they get into they
gotta run down the stairs.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just chase after chase after chase, and I would have liked more just straight up exploration without, like, still the danger present, but don't make it so rushed through.
Yeah,
like I want to soak in all those set pieces.
Yeah, that's fair. There is just like 6 or 7 action set pieces, one after the other.
Like when you think about the opening of Raiders. The tension's there.
Raiders doesn't have like a whole lot of action. There's a whole bunch of like sitting and talking in Raiders.
But the tension's there, the threat's there. But it's at a pace where you can really appreciate every single step in the adventure process. Yeah. It's not just, oh quick, let's run to the idol and get out of there. Yeah. Like it's a sprint out, but getting into it is different. And I think that's what the second half of Crystal Skull's missing.
That's fair. This movie was written by David Kemp, I think his name is.
David Kemp, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Jurassic Park 1 and 2, he wrote the first Spider-Man.
So he's done great stuff.
Mission Impossible. Yeah, so he's a good writer, and I don't think the script is particularly bad. Maybe it's the editing. There are like small character moments. Yeah, a lot of random action set pieces, one after the other, I guess. I haven't really thought about that. But it keeps on happening.
It might also be a mix of...
And that can like fatigue you as well. Yeah. Like if you have less action set pieces.
It's just a weird flow. Yeah. It's just a weird flow to it. And I don't know how they'd fix that. Because like you said, the story's fine and it goes where it needs to go. But it needs something else.
It's lacking that certain magic.
And I don't know if it was down to David Kemp's writing, like
the editing maybe,
or whether it was down to George Lucas' original story and there just wasn't anything else there, and Kemp was literally just translating into script what George Lucas wrote down as a story. I don't know.
I know that Lucas struggled with this one. And he struggled a lot with Indy 5, which he never found the MacGuffin for it or figured out what the mechanisms of it should be. And I know Spielberg and Lucas would always come to Spielberg with some idea, and Spielberg what are you talking about? That's too far, Lucas. So maybe that is part of it. But
well, I know that Spielberg was very resistant to the aliens.
Yeah, he didn't want to do aliens
because they were originally Indiana Jones 4 was supposed to be was going to be coming out in the 90s. Yeah, and then Roland Emmerich made Independence Day, and that's when Spielberg was we can't do aliens because how are we going to top an alien invasion movie like that? And then the film got delayed, and then there's some time passed, so there was a gap then between Independence Day and George Lucas brought the aliens back on the table, and Spielberg was still no. And then that's when George Lucas was well, they're not aliens. It's okay, well, what are they? It's well, they're extra dimensional beings. Yeah. And it's okay, fine. Well, what do they look like? It's well, they look like aliens, but they're going to be extra dimensional. Fine.
Yeah, I imagine Spielberg just in bed, it's 3 a.m. in the morning, the phone rings. He's oh, for fuck's sake. And his wife's is that fucking George Lucas again? He's hey, Stevie, how about aliens now? You good now? You good now? Fine, whatever, fucking just whatever.
Yeah, the extra dimensional rather than terrestrial thing it neither adds anything or takes away anything.
It's
aliens.
I would have rather just call them aliens.
It gives them nothing narratively. They're the same thing. It's just a line that John Hurt says.
There's the like just assumption that they were like helping the older civilizations, and that's how they were like had that advance.
Well, that's the whole ancient aliens concept.
Exactly.
Humans couldn't have built the pyramids, so aliens.
But they could just have the aliens doing that. That line at the end when John Hurst's like, oh, where have they gone? To space? And John Hurst's like, no, to the space between space. I'm like, no, they've gone to space.
Yeah.
We don't need the space between spaces and all that.
And they're like, that wasn't this. John's gone rogue. No wonder we didn't give any fucking lines.
So yeah, that might have just been like, to tire Spielberg over that they weren't technically aliens.
But they were Spielberg.
They were aliens. They looked like aliens. They were in a flying saucer. We all know
they flew a classic 1950s War with the World. They just were still flying silver saucer.
That, if they were going to do it, should have been like a model like this big on like a piece of fishing line.
And this film goes to black and white as someone goes like this, they lean into shot.
The hand.
And he drops it. He's like, oh,
shit, fuck. That's what it should have been. If you're going to show the flying saucer, if you're not going to be discreet, have it like a tiny model.
Plan 9 from outer space, like deal.
Yeah, old school fucking 1960s Doctor Who style.
Have the classic.
Yeah, some guy blowing on a comb.
Yeah, the comb, like a piece of paper. So yeah, the ant sequence. I really like the ant sequence.
I think ant sequence is cool.
Lucas said in the special features that it was like in a version of The Last Crusade, when The Last Crusade was like an African monkey king story, and then like every version of Crystal Skull. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There's been like 47 versions of like every film where Lucas just
I want these other versions. Like imagine a 90s Indy movie where he's like in the African like jungle or where or that have you read The Fate of Atlantis?
No.
Make that a fucking movie.
Well, number 5 for a while was going to be Atlantis.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember the rumours.
Cool.
The rumours like 10 years ago. It's like, they're doing the Atlanta story. It's like, yes.
Every movie after Raiders, in the special features, George Lucas is like, well, it's going to be this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And Spielberg said no to them all.
I reckon Lucas is just in the shower. He's like, that'll be good. Yeah, that'll be good. And then he's like, well, it was going to be this. It wasn't going to be this. It was just him thinking that in the shower.
Maybe, yeah. He's just coming up with like basic ideas.
He's the writer, so yeah, technically any story that he thinks of could have been the story. Like, he's technically correct.
Possibly, yeah, but he's just like throwing stuff at a board and seeing what sticks.
But yeah, I love the ant scene. I'm sure you know this in the special features, but that little fun fact where the ant's crawling up Kate Blanchett's leg, she like squished it, and it was just the ketchup and mustard packet that they exploded. So that red and yellow we see bursting onto the screen, it's just ketchup and mustard.
Old school.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And when you're watching that, that's all you'll see is ketchup and mustard.
I want you to give your best impersonation of the guy being eaten by ants.
No.
Please.
And action!
No.
You've got to.
You have to.
No, I can't do it. You gotta do it.
Spielberg's right.
I know how to do it. Was this a thing? Or are you just like...
I just scared the fly to stall it.
Oh, okay. I thought this was like an inside thing.
No.
You're the one who drugged the beer.
Don't be fucking stupid.
Taking your mic off.
I'm out of here. Fuck this, I'm gone.
No, Indy gets the shit kicked out of him here. It felt very like original trilogy to me. He's getting beaten and then he falls down and he picks up a log and he beats the shit out of the guy with a log.
I was thinking it just like when he crushes the log on it just bursts into little pieces and the guy just still stands there and then he falls back. Like that felt very classic Indiana Jones.
Yeah. It was like the flying wing scene when the propellers come around. It's like the blood splatter on the Nazi thing.
Actually, the log on the head remind me of in Temple of Doom, the guard and they're fighting. And when the rock landing, like he does that awkward kind of like the unconscious kind of like movement, and then he falls over. Like
that felt very Indy to me. Just the fact that Indy's getting the shit kicked out of him. He isn't just destroying this guy. There's real threat and tension with the ants. The ants pose way more threat or tension than like the bugs or the snakes or the rats. They just eat people alive.
Yeah.
And the fact that Indy fought dirty and used a weapon.
I do love how the crystal skull kind of like makes that.
Yeah, they're like an
cool.
island and surrounded by death.
Yeah.
The guy falls down.
Cool.
Yeah, ants crawl into his mouth and his eyes.
And do it?
No.
He's just screams. He's just like, ah!
There we go, you did it.
That's fine. Oh, that's a pass.
And now you go.
No. I'm not your fucking puppet.
What am I?
My puppet.
I'm not his puppet. Did you hear this? He respects me.
Apparently not me.
It's still be funny to see you scream.
Just in general. In pain. In real life situations.
Sorry.
You almost had a spit take.
Spat the water out there.
You know what we haven't talked about yet? Karen Allen back as Marion.
We haven't talked about Karen Allen.
Except for brief mentioning her in the opening credits.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about her.
I like Marion back. She's my favourite of the three.
Me
like
too.
indie girls.
Yeah. And even though she's older, she still feels like Marion.
She looks amazing.
She looks the same.
Yeah. And I always this rewatch, I juxtaposed it with Han and Leia in episode 7 and their meeting. And their meeting is kind of like heartwarming but kind of awkward and weird. In this, Marion just walks out and she doesn't punch Indy, but she's just like firing sass and firing like spunk and attitude. And she's like,
she's still the same character.
she doesn't give a fuck. And she's firing at Indy and Indy's like, what the hell?
As soon as she sees him, she has the classic Indiana Jones.
Yeah, then you think it's going to be nice, and then she just walks past him like, about time you got here, how come you got captured again? Blah, 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 and he's like, oh, fuck. She's great, she can hold her own against Indy.
And that's what Spielberg said in the special features. He said he didn't have to give her any direction or anything. She was the same kind of like spunky, feisty Marion Ravenwood that he remembered from the original film.
And it feels like if he was to have like a long-term relationship with one of the girls, it'd be her.
Yeah.
Not Elsa, because she'd die.
And
it was evil.
Yeah, and was a Nazi.
And not Willie, because she went off and married Spielberg.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked. She broke the fourth wall and married Spielberg.
He's like, I got no one else. But you, Salah.
Give me hell, Indiana Jones. Just in a bed.
Indiana Jones. About time you showed up.
Mom!
Sweetheart.
Mom.
Yeah, the end sequence is great. We get waterfalls upon waterfalls.
I like that sequence. It's fun.
It's fun.
3 times it drops.
Yeah, I like how at a point Indy takes off his hat and he like holds it.
Yeah, like the first one, like they're kind of like freaking out. The second one, they even freak out even more. The third
They've
one,
just accepted it.
The third one's kind of like, screw it, let's just go with it.
They enter into the temple. There's more exposition here. Not a whole lot going on, really, I guess, which is
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of notes for like the second hour. The first hour, I felt like I was. And by the end, I'm like, do I have anything to say about the waterfalls?
Because it's pretty much just a big chase sequence to the end of the film.
Yeah. I do love when they first arrive in the big temple, when they first walk into it. And all the natives are coming out. I love like the kind of like breakaway walls.
Yeah.
They all kind of like pop. That really was creepy the first time you see it.
I remember with the whole like backlash against this film, which was like kind of a carry-on of the prequel hate and like the inception of the internet and like nerds getting a voice and stuff. I remember everyone being really angry about that, being like, oh, they're sitting in the walls for like 40 years. But it didn't bother me. I guess it's like magic, right? They're entering some like weird Aztec
by the temple night, he was just sitting down there for what, 3,000 years?
Yeah. So yeah, it didn't really bother me. I don't think that there were real like hunter-gatherer tribal people just sitting in the walls waiting for Indiana Jones.
I never took it they were sitting crouched in that fucking wall for someone to walk in.
Fuck, I hope someone comes soon.
What if no one finds us?
We've been here for 8 generations. They're just like living and breeding and dying, waiting for someone to come. Yeah.
I think another thing that kind of makes it feel rushed as well, when they first get to Peru, there's like that really quick like 30-second scene of them like in the marketplace area.
Yeah.
That's over and done with really quickly, and then boom, they're like just where they need to go. Like
that's what I mean.
There's no
the exploration of the location isn't there.
Yeah.
Like in Raiders, you get a nice stay in Cairo before you move to the desert in the final chase. Last Crusade, you get a nice moment like before the whole tank scene. You get at least 20 minutes.
Even in Temple of Doom, which is like a straightforward storyline, they go to the village and they talk to they talk around the stone thing, and then they go to the little house and they're talking to the elders there and all that kind of stuff. And then they go to dinner. Like
at Venice in the third one, like they're on boats. And
there's always
breathing in the atmosphere. And
there's always a bit of like, we're here, let's just set the scene. This one's like, we're here, it's already happened.
Waterfalls! Ants!
Going into
monkeys on vines!
Shia LaBeouf!
Going into this one, I was really excited because like I love movies set in the Amazon. And when I saw this, I was like, Indiana Jones, the Amazon. I was like, amazing, that's so cool. I was expecting like really cool, like kind of like trekking through like the jungle and, you know, like maybe like, you know, having to have a couple of suspense in like some wild animals, stuff like that. Something really cool, and there was nothing like that.
They kind of just like
wild animals, ants.
You know what I mean, like, you know, like with an anaconda or like he's scared of snakes. Have an anaconda.
They have a snake.
It's not an anaconda. No, but you know what I mean. Like it's okay. They have a snake, but I mean like an actual like suspense.
An obstacle. It wasn't an obstacle. It was more a joke. Like the jungle, the Amazon. It's crazy. Like you can't drive a car through there. And in this, they have just like cars with giant things that just cut down the Amazon. Like,
can do it.
That's not a thing.
That's what I mean. Like if you
can't just cut a road through the Amazon.
Oh, they did.
They did.
If you turn on
missed the opportunity to have it as an obstacle. The Wilhelm scream in this movie is really out of place for me.
Where is it?
They're driving the motorbikes, and then there's just like an extreme close-up of a student, and they like zoom in, and he's like, ah, and does the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Oh yeah, he does too.
It's not like a guy in the background getting blown up or anything, it's like extreme close-up.
And there are so many, you know, like in the jungle chase, the guy like throws himself off the back of the, you know, the car. Why didn't they add it to something like that? Yeah, you're right. It is a weird spot.
It always stuck out to me. It didn't feel natural. And it should stick out, and it shouldn't feel natural.
The perfect spot.
But it had gone too far out of sticking out and being unnatural to where it was too much.
Split! Going too fast. It's a matter of opinion.
The perfect spot would have been when they're driving after the ants and they drive off the cliff and they land on the tree that kind of like bends down and then it flies back and hits them all and they all come flying off.
Yeah.
Put it in there, that would have been a perfect spot.
When Kate Blanchett throws the monkey.
Yeah, get the one to control monkey.
The kid when the motorbike like slides and comes to a stop.
Chet Hanks.
Yeah. Tom Hanks' son. There we go. Did we talk about the monkey scene? We didn't talk about the monkey scene,
briefly.
Did we?
We kind of skimmed.
It's dumb. It's silly. It doesn't make any sense.
Shia LaBeouf becomes Tarzan.
It looks bad and digital. And I think for me, the worst fact is that like he sees these monkeys. And the monkey starts swinging on ropes, and he's swinging on the ropes. Like, okay.
But then they help him.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm teaming up with you, Shia. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And they start attacking the Russians.
Yeah, it's just like, how?
They know.
He communicated with them.
That's the one point when I was watching this for Jacqueline. Like, you know, I was watching the first. I turned to her. I was like, "This isn't too bad. This isn't bad." And then the monkey scene happened. I turned. I was like, "All right, this is fucking ridiculous."
But it's only a little tiny moment. Like if you cut all like the monkey scenes together, it'll probably be like a minute, maybe.
Not even that.
But it's a hell of a minute that takes away a lot of it.
Also, one thing that always kind of bugged me was. Like he swings and he stops and he sees the cliff and he sees like the cars like, you know, chasing each other. The distance that they are away and the speed they're going at. How the hell does he catch them on the vine?
He's swinging,
and they're already like over here and he's swinging from over here. I'm like,
it's Shia. He can do anything he wants.
Why didn't the monkeys follow him? Why did they just help him out in that moment? They should have gone to the end.
They also weren't afraid of him. They didn't attack him.
No.
They somehow knew he was the good guy and they were the bad guys. Yeah, I don't know.
I do like during the chase, like the fencing scene with Kate Blanchett. I thought that was cool.
I like the fencing scene, but then it gets to a point where like Shia's doing the splits and he's getting hit in the nuts with plants. For me, I don't know.
I enjoyed that bit. It was stupid, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
It's Homer Simpson going down the fucking ski slope.
That's fair. For me, I delve more into like darkness and like suspense and tension, I think, than you. And yeah, for me, it didn't hold any weight, and yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea. And yeah, that's fine. I guess it could be not my cup of tea, and it can be your cup of tea.
I don't like tea, so
cup of coffee?
No,
he doesn't like coffee either.
You don't like coffee?
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh.
Glass of water.
What do you think I'm drinking water and beer for?
How do you function without abusing coffee?
I like espresso martinis.
That's fair.
Yeah. So
was it your espresso martini, Jai? The nut shot? the nut shots.
Look, I disagree. I think that's a bit silly. I don't mind the fight, but the whole like spread legs, bang bang bang. If it happened to Indy, maybe in the originals. But,
yeah, I
like if it happened to 65-year-old Indy, I'm like, nah.
Full on like John Claude Van Damme. What was it? Chucks.
He does it in fucking Under Siege or something.
Yeah.
I agree with Alex there. It was a bit too much. That one, but I like the. You know what, Rob, get out.
No. He's allowed to like the
Told me to get out.
You don't trust him, you want to hear him scream, you want him to get out.
Okay.
I don't think we've really talked about Indy's fear of snakes. It's a little, just tiny little character quirk here. He's like this, like, alpha male, and I always, as a kid, like, looked up to him for, like, his physical prowess, but then, like, his intellect as well. A lot of times in, like, action-adventure movies, you'd have, like, the tank guy who was, like, the fighter, then you'd have, like, the girl who, like, did all, like, the intellectual stuff. You, like, combined those two elements. But the fear of snakes is, like, a little quirk on, like, the archetypical, like, hero archetype here. It's interesting and it's fun, and it brings, like, realism and depth to his character.
Grab on. Grab it, Indy.
So the final sequence. I know that people have a lot of problem with this too, saying it goes off the deep end and it gets crazy. Like the final scene where they walk into like the room with all the aliens. I feel like, just in my opinion, it feels very Raiders to me. Like the last scene of Raiders with all the heads and the arcs and the spirit and the lightning.
The way Kate Blanchett goes out feels very Raiders, like kind of like
like
similar,
if you think this went off the deep end and went crazy, then what do you think of the end of Raiders? That fucking went off the deep end and went crazy. I guess it's weird, and there are shots where I wish they'd done like dinky practical, like bad looking effects rather than modern CGI. The ants make sense. The ants try to make sense to me. The mushroom cloud makes sense. Yeah. The alien, I think, could have been practical.
When there's no way to do it practically, that's when CGI should be used. If you can do it practically...
It's a tool to be utilised, but it's not the only tool. Yeah. You have a toolbox, and it's one of the tools. Lucas. Jesus, man. Nah, you revolutionised fucking digital cinema and CGI and stuff with the...
But then he did Strange Magic. Have you seen that?
No.
Animated movie with, like, trolls and shit. Like, don't... Cut this. I don't even want to bring it up.
You already brought it up. Kate Blanchett goes out. We get a nice little moment with John Hurt realising that Shire is Indy's son, and then we get the wedding. Normally, I'm the type of guy, and I know I praised Crusade because it didn't have like the cut back and then show more of the story. Normally I'm the guy like, we don't need the wedding, all that sentimental bullshit feels forced and it didn't work. But I think the wedding scene is fine and it's nice. I didn't have a problem with it.
I like the wedding scene because it cements that, you know, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, because it has that tease, you know, shot against the hat.
That moment.
And it's
awesome.
like, oh, where are we going? And then Harrison, Indy's like, nah.
Yeah.
You get like,
I don't get why. I don't get why people hate that bit, because I think one of our friends the other night when we were talking about it, said they didn't like that bit, and we're saying, well, no, because the movie's clearly saying that no one will be Indiana Jones apart from Harrison.
Yeah.
So, like, people
Charlotte doesn't put it on.
Yeah. No. He almost does, and he loses by the last minute.
Harrison's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So Harrison, not Indy.
Harrison's like,
in the script.
He
put it on.
He even called Spielberg around. I was like, please do not let anyone play Indiana Jones apart from me.
And he never will after number 5. There'll never be another actor to play Indiana Jones again. They've said it, so it's gonna happen.
I remember going into Crystal Skull, wondering what the last scene was going to be, because I remember they're like they do with a lot of these big movies, and they release like a little 1 minute kind of like behind the scenes about the actors and directors, like talking about like, you know, being back and, you know, the slight movie making process and without spoiling anything. And I remember at the very end of this particular little 2-minute doco, they were all kind of like teasing like this surprise ending.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford like, this surprise ending? No one told me.
Yeah, I think that's the marriage part.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And I remember going and thinking, what is a surprise ending? And when it came up, I was like, that was cool. Like
that's nice.
I was expecting.
I like that he didn't think that was a surprise ending.
Yeah.
Like Harrison Ford's oblivious. Like, oh, okay.
What are we doing?
Yeah. No. He was being completely like sarcastic. Like,
was
knowing
he?
there was one, but it was playing down like, it's a surprise ending.
Yeah. No, you can never tell with him. He's old.
Yeah.
But so in conclusion, this doesn't reach the like magic in a bottle of the original trilogy, but there's something going on with those movies where I think it's impossible to ever like recreate that. It'd be like if the Beatles got back together in like the 80s and Lennon wasn't shot. Like they wouldn't be able to reach like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band watermark. Like that's impossible. For me, the original trilogy is just like, it's perfect in a way and you could never reach it. So I don't know if that's like a massive failing of the movie that I can harshly criticize it for, because yeah, to be like the Beatles got back in the 80s and they brought out an album and it wasn't as good as Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Fuck it, it sucks. It was good and that's all it needed to be. And for me, it was good, especially the first hour. And Harrison recaptures that magic, even if the CGI monkeys and the nuclear fridge explosions do not.
You've summed that up incredibly. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel as well. I don't really have anything to add to that. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It's not as good as the first three.
I don't think it deserves a hater guess.
Yeah, I think
some aspects do.
Some aspects do, but the movie as a whole.
Definitely not. Totally agree. We've been apologists for this movie for fucking years.
Yeah, I loved it when I came out, and I've never not loved it, and I think I'll always love it. For me, the sad part is that there weren't more. I don't watch it and go, I wish this never happened. I watch this and go, I wish they made another one 6 years before this, or 6 years after this.
Yeah, imagine if we had another movie. Imagine another 2 movies in the 90s. It would have been great.
It would have been amazing. The Beatles didn't make another album, and there's only 5 Indiana Jones movies, and I think that's fine. This movie's good. It's not original trilogy. Yeah. Alright. Thank you, everyone.